guys, I'm Trina Kelly, and I am back for another video! This goes along with the 2018 summary, where I'm talking about how I dealt with depression in 2018. So, yeah, if you want to go read the Rambles, because it actually goes into a lot more detail, you can go here. Or, you can actually, go down into the description and go click the link. It's up to you. But yes, so I went through a lot of depression in 2018. And there were things I was doing to either help me overcome it, to help cope with it, distract from it long enough for me to figure out stuff. Either way, I did quite a few things. So the first thing is very, very, very eye-rolling. It is very eye-rolling, seriously, even I kind of want to, roll my eyes, ugh. But the first thing that actually, pretty much all of these are, really, really eye-rolling. Really eye-rolling. But, yeah, so the first thing, and I'm sorry that I'm sorry, but also not sorry that I'm recommending this, but, one of the things that I did in 2018 that really, really, really helped me, was that I started journaling. I know, journaling! Ooh, journaling! Yeah, you said journal. Do you journal? Seriously, yes, I started journaling. It took me a while, though, to even find a format. So I used to try to journal, and on occasion, when I felt really inspired, I would, basically do a journal entry. But I really, for one reason or another, wanted to start journaling. And at first I was trying to approach it the way I had been approaching it, and it frustrated me. And I think the reason why it frustrated me was because I write stories, but I don't really want to write stories about myself, though I guess I technically do doing rambles, but that's a blog entry, whatever. But yeah, no, in a journal entry, I don't want to write it like I'm writing one of my stories. But that's always what it feels like, and it's just droning on and on and on and on, except I feel like my stories themselves are a lot better. But anyway, just I was just so frustrated. I was just I don't want to write these paragraphs upon paragraphs upon paragraphs. And then, one day, I actually realized that the best format for me was actually to bullet point everything. Which probably sounds really weird. But no, when I go write my journal entries, I actually bullet point everything. And even when I write paragraphs upon paragraphs, for some reason, the organization of the bullet points really helps me to just, keep my thoughts aligned, in check. So I started doing that. Now, if you decide to journal, if you don't journal already, I actually recommend experimenting with different notebooks and just different formats. I also, too, for a while, because I was in a more chatty mood, I would actually open up, a voice recorder program on my phone, and back when I had my car, and just, sit down and just, chat to myself, just record, and just about my day and stuff. So that also helped. That actually helped in 2017. But I was more in a chatty mood. I'm actually also currently in a bit of a chatty mood, so that's actually my better way to do that right now. But yeah, anyway, as I keep talking and rambling, but yeah, if you decide to start journaling, as stupid as it sounds, it's actually really helpful. But one, experiment with what kind of format and what kind of, place. It could literally be a voice recorder on your phone, or it could be some fancy schmancy notebook that you spent $15 on, or it could be a binder that, you put loose leaf paper in, or it could just be a notebook. Personally, I like just plain covered notebooks. I usually go for the cheapest notebook I can find and use that. And I really like plain covers. It should just have here's the brand and here's some specs about this thing. some specifications about this particular notebook. It's got 180 sheets, and it's these inches this way and that way, and yeah. So experiment, test stuff out, see what works for you. Also, be very honest with yourself. Very honest. Like, I mean, like, super honest. Even when it scares you. Be so honest with yourself. Because, you know, it's scary sometimes to be honest with yourself, because sometimes you don't like what's there. But sometimes, too, you'll find stuff that you do like. But I feel like journaling works the best when you don't let fear get in the way. Or you let it get in the way, but you write about it getting in the way, and why. So just be honest with yourself. Like, genuinely, like, really deeply honest. Like, you know those, like, really weird, like, I guess it's the shadowy things that sometimes will pop up in your head, and you're like, I never want to tell anyone. Write about those. I'm not kidding. Or, you know, talk on your phone about those to yourself. It's important for you to get those out, because then you can reflect on them. Maybe you're someone who, I don't know, you crave the attention of other people, and you just don't want to admit to yourself that you absolutely despise yourself, and you can't accept yourself. You know, maybe you're like that and you need to reflect on that, and you go, oh, wow, there's this thing that I kind of knew was there, but, you know, you're acknowledging it, which gives you more power. At least that's what I've found out. So yes, the next two things, because I guess we can group them together. Okay, they're not really grouped together. So the next thing was meditation, which I know, more stupid, and then the other thing is yoga. I know, so stupid. Oh my gosh, those are so cliche, Kelly. Like, how dare you do that? I'm like, sorry, I know they are, but no, I started doing some meditation, and I actually found when I stuck with it, like, a couple times a week, I actually had a much better control over my mind, and I have had a much better, I just had a better control over my mind. My mind likes to, like, run around and do a bunch of stuff, but I found that I was able to stay, like, really calm, really centered, really, I felt good. Like, I felt really good. I felt like I could pay attention, which is not something that I normally feel like. So, that helped. That also helped too, instead of letting the depression get in the way, it, like, quieted it. It made it quiet or shut it up entirely, which was nice. And then I was doing yoga, which I actually started doing to stretch myself, because, just because of the type of job I have, my body's like, ow, so I'm like, I'm gonna do stretches and make me feel better, and it did help. It helped not just for that, but it also helped with my depression. And I think it's just the movements, the gentle movements, and the stretching and stuff. So, yeah. If you guys want some advice on that, or see what I have to say about my tips, my trainer Kelly's tips, just go to the Ramble. I write a bunch more details there. But yeah, so what was the other thing? Ah, yes, going to my inner worlds. Let's just call it that. So my inner worlds. So, okay, so I literally, and even now I still do this when my depression comes up, but I go to, I guess it's kind of like a fantasy land, but like it has real world implications. Specifically, I went to what was called the Land of Torment. I thought I mentioned it in 2017, but I don't think I did. But anyway, so I pretty much spent most of that year kind of, essentially, it's kind of like a guided meditation, like a visual guided meditation in a way. But I basically saw myself as my queen side, which you can see like back there, and then my creator side, which you can see right here. This is probably a better picture. Creator me, queen me. But yes, so creator. Oh, sorry. Anyway, so creator and queen me. Yeah. So anyway, so how do I describe this? So I guess you can kind of say that my anime personas that represent me, the queen and the creator, plus their fused form, I honestly use to actually like explore myself. And the queen was definitely leading at that point. And we were basically taking down a bunch of issues. Like, I was taking a bunch of issues down as the queen and the creator fused together, with the queen leading. I don't know how to describe it other than that. We went to the Land of Torment, and basically just whenever I encountered an issue, I found it, I saw it, I found it, I acknowledged it, and that seemed to vanquish it. I honestly, some of the most powerful things, like, for me, was not only, like, personifying the depression, but also looking at it and basically saying, I see you. This doesn't really know what to do when you finally see it. So I basically looked at it. I don't really know how to describe it. It's like, the way I saw it mostly was like, whenever I had like this depression, it felt like it was like in me, and like, it was in me. And what I would do is I would actually like, I would see myself as just the queen, or at least like the queen half, just casting out this depression, having it go right across from me, and having me go, who are you? And basically, I would kind of like almost like question it and break it down and understand where it might have come from and stuff like that. And that was really, really helpful for me. But I am someone where like, yeah, no, it took a long time to get to a point where I could do something like that. I mean, I guess not. I don't really know how to describe it. Like, I feel like my the Rambles entry makes more sense. But essentially, like, it was kind of like a guided meditation that I did in my head, and I used my anime personas, the queen and the creator, particularly in their fused form, to explore what I call the Land of Torment, which has a whole bunch of my issues personified, and I basically, like, took them down. The creepiest one was honestly the one that looked just like me, except way more psychotic. Who I kind of suspect to kind of come back at some point, because it looked like they were just frozen over. I wasn't sure really how to deal with them, and then, like, suddenly, like, they just turned white, and there was, like, a bunch of, like, frost. So I'm expecting it to start again, but not right now. But yeah, I don't really know how to describe it other than that. All I know is that, like, this, I guess, fictional place in my head is actually has real world implications. It was very, very helpful to me. If you want some tips about that, you can also go into the description. So what else? Yeah, you definitely go check out the Rambles. Honestly, it has way more information, and like tips and stuff about what I did. That may be helpful if you're interested. I don't know. You can just watch, or otherwise you can just watch me be weird. Okay, I'll stop. And okay, so the other thing, when I look at my Rambles entry, because I wrote this like back in February and it's June now. Anyway, so the other thing was as I, like, literally, it was very situation dependent. I either honored my depression and my anxiety, or I ignored it. But if you're going to do that, so this I was able to do because I actually know myself very, very, very well. Like, very, very well. Like, I not only know myself, but I also know what other people view me. Like, I know how I view me. I know how I function internally, but I also have the concept of how other people view me from the outside. Not always the easiest thing to achieve. I don't even quite know how I did it. I think I just, like, picked it up over time, just to make better decisions, and to try to portray myself authentically on the outside, like whatever I'm projecting to the world. But yeah. Anyway, yeah, because I know myself so well, I could tell you when the depression and the anxiety needed to be honored. I needed to listen to it when it was like, hey, go to sleep. Hey, go read. Go play a video game. I needed to honor that. But sometimes, too, it would just try to wreck me, and I could tell you I needed to ignore it and power through whatever I was working on. Obviously not the easiest thing, because it likes to kick and scream until you go down, but you're not going to go down, and then it gets bored, and then it's like, okay, bye. Fine, if you're not going to play this game with me, I'm the depression and the anxiety, and you're not playing my game anymore. No, I'm not freaking depression and anxiety. I'm not making fun of people who have depression and anxiety, because obviously I do too. Making fun of the depression and the anxiety itself. Because, let's be honest here, sometimes it's really stupid. And, like, when you know that it's really stupid, but you're like, I'm still dealing with this anyway. You know, it's just so stupid. So, honestly, like, I look at, like, even now, like, when I get depressed and I know, I'm like, this is a really stupid thing to get depressed over. Like, I do think that you need to have some, like, kindness I do think that you need to have kindness with yourself, but also, too, if you really are, like, really me? Like, really? Because I also found, too, having that kind of attitude towards my depression and my anxiety in some cases I needed to, like, be actually very kind, but other times when I looked at it, I'm like, and there's the part of me that goes, you know, this is actually very ridiculous, and it's the more, like, mature part of me that's like, this is actually very ridiculous. And acknowledging that actually can be very powerful. But this is honestly very situation, like, dependent. It depends on how, like, you need to know yourself, like, very, very well. You need to be able to, like, listen to your own needs, like, from internally. Yeah. Is that it? But yeah, yeah, no, that was pretty much everything. So, journaling, meditation, yoga, exploring a fictional world in my head that actually has real world implications because it helps me through everything, and acknowledging or ignoring my depression and my anxiety depending on the situation. So everything about this is so I was able to find success in these, but, you know, a lot of times people will say, oh, just do journaling, just do yoga, just do blah blah, just do, you know, whatever. For some people, that might just simply be what they needed, but, like, I actually don't think, you know, it's really not that easy. It's something that's very, very nuanced. So, I'm telling you all this, but what you guys may not realize is that I've been dealing with depression for years. And it has taken me a long time to get to a point where not only do I know how to actually, like, cope with my depression fairly well, but I know how to overcome it. and I know how to acknowledge it, and like all these other things. So, and it's taken me a long time, and the only way I can like really describe it is that I know myself very, 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 very deeply, and at any chance that I can root out things that don't actually serve me any longer, I do. And for me, I'm not saying, like, when I say that I'm doing all these things, I'm not saying, oh, it's gonna work for you, it's gonna heal everything. No, probably not. Probably won't. But it could be helpful towards your healing. It could be helpful towards your coping. Maybe not. Or maybe not right now. This obviously was for me, and I wanted to bring it up to you guys, just in case you needed to hear some of this. If not, that's okay. I feel stupid talking specifically about journaling, yoga, and meditation, because I always feel like those are like the three things. Maybe some like exercise and like running in the woods and stuff. Oh, just go do that, I'll fix your depression. No. No. I honestly have found knowing myself so well, like scarily well, and catching, I don't know how to describe it other than like catching and acknowledging the depression and seeing it and looking at it directly in the eye and then watching it just disappear because it doesn't know what it's doing. It's almost like, how do I describe this? It's like, yeah, it's almost like an automated process. And it gets confused when you disrupt it. And for me, the disruptor is acknowledging it and seeing it. And not just being, and I'm not talking about like saying, oh, I'm depressed. Like, not just saying that you're depressed, but being able to actually, like, dive into that depression and pick it apart and figure out what is making you depressed. Because there might be something, like, very, very, very deep that's making you depressed. And it could have, like, literally could have been stuff that happened, like, years ago. Like, years and years and years ago. I find it's about weeding it out and really, really, really deep diving into yourself, but also getting out of your head. I think if you don't have a good perspective on how you project yourself on the outside, I think that's an important thing to have. You can always ask around. If you go to therapy, I'm sure your therapist probably has dropped hints to you, if not has not like outright told you. But yeah, this has gone on too long. Some of this stuff wasn't even in the ramble, but if you guys want some additional tips and just kind of about everything else that I actually did, just go read the ramble. Okay, bye you guys!